Hello, my name is Jesse Taylor. Today my report is going to be on concussions. Um, I just want to start off by asking kind of a simple question. What is a concussion? The Center of Disease Controls describes a concussion as a type of traumatic brain injury, or TBI, caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head, or by a hit to the body that causes the head and brain to move rapidly back and forth. This sudden movement can cause the brain to bounce around or twist in the skull, stretching and damaging the brain cells and creating chemical changes in the brain. Kind of a scary thought, right? So with that, what are the signs and symptoms of a concussion? Concussion signs and symptoms. Signs of someone who's received a concussion is someone who's dazed, confused, don't really remember the incident where they received the concussion. Some symptoms are nausea, headaches, kind of dizziness, confusion, feeling sluggish throughout the day. Kind of all scary things. So to kind of segue into the next slide, now that we know what a concussion is and some signs and symptoms, why am I discussing this, and why should you all be concerned about the potential issues of concussions? Concussion facts. The Center of Disease Controls is saying concussion problem in America is at an epidemic level. An epidemic level, kind of a crazy, scary word to consider. An epidemic on definition.com is described as a rapid spread or increase in the occurrence of something. So in this case, concussions. It's estimated that 3.8 million concussions per year are diagnosed, and up to 50% more go undiagnosed. So someone's received a concussion and are not telling anyone, and that concussion is going undiagnosed. Also, scary thought. The scariest part about this, though, is the significant increase in concussions in our youth. So ages of 19 and under. In the last year, it's gone from 153,375 to 248,418 diagnosed concussions. So that doesn't count all the undiagnosed concussions, the ones that are going unnoticed because someone's either not saying something or what it may be. There's actually a book written by Linda Carroll and David Rosner called The Concussion Crisis. I have a little passage from that book I'd like to read. This is a book that brings the explosive but largely unseen epidemic of concussions out of the shadows. It puts human face on pressing public health crisis through poignant stories of athletes. For these peewees to pros, and of those whose lives have been forever changed by jolts to the head and the brain. So the part that everyone thinks is, oh, concussions are mainly a college or professional issue, is actually the reason the Center of Disease Control is saying it's an epidemic is it's an epidemic for our youth as well. It's happening all the way from little kids to adults, and this epidemic and these concussions are having lasting effects. So kind of segue, what are the long-term effects or long-term repercussions of concussions? Post-concussion syndrome, just feeling sick, feeling dizzy, kind of what we talked about with the symptoms. Convulsive motor pneumonia, post-traumatic seizures, second impact syndrome, CTE, depression, mild cognitive impairment. All scary issues for long-term effects. But the one that's making the most headway and is actually becoming a movie that's coming out shortly, starring Will Smith, is CTE. CTE is a long-term effect that they just not too long ago discovered. It's chronic pain or brain injuries, and it's causing severe and a lot of deaths in those who have received them. So in conclusion, what do I want you guys to know about concussions. Concussions can be potentially very damaging, but also can be fatal. A lot of people are not only it's fatal because of issues they're having, but a lot of depression. People are taking their own lives because of multiple concussions. Concussions are having serious impacts on our college and professional athletes. Like we talked about, it is at an epidemic level for them and for our youth. Concussions are also having a serious impact on the lives of our youth and their futures. Quantities of diagnosed concussions are on the rise. We have a graph that, like they said, those numbers for the concussions 19 and under, it's almost doubled in a year, and fear that undiagnosed concussions is also on the rise. Like they said, almost 50%. They believe 50% of the 3.8 million concussions, almost 50% more go undiagnosed. Thank you so much for your time, and if you have any questions, let me know.